Welcome to the Dup Dive. Today, we're on a mission, really looking into the psychology of money. We want to find those core truths about financial success.
And what's fascinating, based on what we've dug into, is that success often has, well, surprisingly little to do with math or how smart you think you are.
Yeah, it kind of flips the script, doesn't it? The core idea here is that doing well with money, it's much more about how you behave.
Exactly, it's behavior. And that's tough because, things like ego, patience, greed, those aren't skills you learn in a textbook.
Right, they're hard to teach, even to maybe especially to really smart people.
We've got a couple of stories that just perfectly illustrate this contrast.
Okay, let's start with the genius. This tech executive, incredibly bright guy, designed and patented key Wi-Fi components like super young.
Made millions, started companies, sold them, just swimming in cash.
But his financial life, a total mess, behaviorally speaking.
Oh, absolutely. This is the guy who'd carry around this thick wad of $100 bills. Always bragging.
Yeah.
Often, after a few drinks.
Yeah. And the gold coin story, you have to tell that one. It's just unbelievable.
It really is. He's at this fancy hotel in L.A., hands a buddy thousands in cash, tells him, go buy gold coins. Like $1,000 gold coins.
Okay. Then what?
Then he and his friends troop down to the beach and skip the coins across the Pacific Ocean.
Skipping gold coins.
Yep. Just throwing money away. Said it was just for fun. Predictably, maybe, he went broke pretty fast. Ego trumped intelligence.
Wow. Okay, so hold that image. The genius throwing gold into the sea. Now let's contrast that with Ronald James Reed.
Ronald Reed, from rural Vermont. His jobs, janitor, gas station attendant, investor. That's what it says.
Lived a very quiet life, bought a small house for, what, $12,000, lived there his whole life.
Yeah, chop firewood for fun. Really the definition of unassuming.
But when he passed away at 92, this quiet janitor left behind. How much was it?
Over $8 million. Left it to his stepkids, the local hospital, the library.
$8 million. And how? No lottery win, no secret inheritance.
Nope. Nothing like that. It was incredibly simple. He just saved whatever little he could consistently, put it into solid blue chip stocks.
And then
he just waited. For decades. He let compounding do its magic.
So the genius lost it all through bad behavior. The janitor built a fortune through simple, patient behavior.
That's the core lesson right there. Financial success is fundamentally a soft skill. It's psychology, not just numbers.
Okay, so if the janitor's simple actions could lead to millions, what's the engine behind that? It has to be more than just saving, right? It's the waiting. It's time.
Absolutely. It's compounding. And the reason it feels almost like a secret weapon is, frankly, our brains aren't wired for it. We're good at linear thinking. Add 8 again. Easy.
But not exponential.
No. Ask someone to visualize 8 times 8 times 8 again.
Yeah.
Our intuition just kind of stalls out. That's compounding. Multiplication over time.
That really clicks when you think about Warren Buffett. Yes, he's a brilliant investor, no doubt.
But is his average annual return the absolute highest ever? No. What's his real superpower?
It's the longevity, isn't it?
It's the longevity. He's been doing it phenomenally well for, what, 3/4 of a century? Since he was a kid.
And the numbers, when you break them down by age, are just staggering.
They really are. Something like $84 billion of his wealth came after his 50th birthday.
After 50. And even more came after he qualified for Social Security.
That's right. $81.5 billion came after his mid-60s. His skill is investing, but the fortune comes from compounding over an immense time frame. He survived.
Which you can really see when you compare him to someone like Jim Simons.
Ah, Jim Simons, head of Renaissance Technologies, arguably the best quantitative investor ever. His returns are astronomical.
Yeah, like 66% annually since the late 80s. That's triple Buffett's average, roughly.
Exactly. 3 times better on average year over year.
But Simons is significantly less wealthy than Buffett. Why?
Simple. He started later. Simons didn't really hit his stride until he was 50. He just hasn't had the same amount of time for that incredible return to compound.
It puts it in perspective. If Simons had Buffett's time frame...
Oh, the numbers get absurd. Like $63 quintillion or something ridiculous. It shows that time, just surviving and staying invested, is arguably a more powerful force than having the absolute highest return rate.
Okay, so that shifts everything. If time and compounding are the big engines, then the biggest danger isn't just making a bad investment.
Right, it's being forced out of the game, interrupting that compounding process.
Which brings us to this critical difference between getting wealthy and staying wealthy. They seem like related skills, but are they really?
They require almost opposite mindsets, actually. Getting rich often involves optimism, taking big risks, maybe being a bit loud about it.
Yeah, putting yourself out there.
But staying rich,
Yeah.
that demands humility. It demands, honestly, a bit of paranoia. You have to realize that maybe some of your success was luck, and you can't count on repeating it forever. Frugality helps too.
History's full of people who nailed the first part but failed the second. Jesse Livermore comes to mind.
The legendary trader made a fortune, the equivalent of billions today, shorting the market in 1929. Wiped out guys like Abraham Germansky.
Germansky was ruined, sadly, but Livermore was the winner, the genius, for a while.
Exactly. For a while. What happened just a few years later?
He got overconfident. Bigger bets, more leverage, more debt. Thought he couldn't lose.
And he lost it all. Again, it wasn't a failure of intelligence. It was ego. It was behavior, forgetting the need to survive.
Because staying wealthy means your primary goal shifts, doesn't it?
It absolutely has to. It becomes less about maximizing every last return and more about ensuring you survive the unexpected, the black swan event you never saw coming, protecting what you have.
Like that long-term capital management fiasco in the late 90s, staffed with Nobel Prize winners.
The absolute smartest guys in the room using incredibly complex models, and they almost brought down the entire financial system.
And Buffett's comment on that was so sharp. What was it again?
He said, to make money they didn't have and didn't need, they risked what they did have and did need. And that's foolish. Pure foolishness.
Risking what you need for something you don't. But surely those LTCM guys did need to keep making money, to keep their jobs, their status.
They wanted to make more money, sure, to keep up appearances, lifestyles, but did they need to risk their core capital, their survival money, chasing those extra percentage points? No. That was the gamble.
It reminds me of that story about Rick Guerin, Buffett and Munger's early partner.
Right. Munger said Guerin was just as smart as them. But there was one difference.
He was in a hurry.
Exactly. Guerin used a lot of margin, borrowed money to boost his returns. Then the 73-74 crash hit. Market tanks.
Margin call.
Margin call. Forced to sell his Berkshire stock at the absolute bottom, like under $40 a share. Buffett and Munger, patient, unleveraged, they rode it out. Guerin's impatience, his hurry, cost him everything. Survival trumps edge.
So if survival is number one, avoiding ruin, what does that mean for you listening right now, trying to build wealth? How should we even think about what wealth is?
Okay, this is crucial. We need to separate being rich from being wealthy. They sound similar, but they're different. Being rich is mostly about your current income. High salary. Big bonus. That's rich. You see it. Fancy cars, big houses, spending.
Okay. So wealth is...
Wealth is hidden. Wealth is the income you didn't spend. It's the money saved and invested, not yet turned into stuff. Wealth is the fancy car you didn't buy, the upgrade you passed on. It's financial assets working for you unseen.
That makes sense of that man in the car paradox. You see someone drive by in a, I don't know, a Ferrari.
Right. And what do you think? You don't usually admire the driver's financial prudence, do you?
No, you mostly just think, wow, I'd look cool in that car. You use it as a benchmark for your own desires.
Exactly. And the person driving it, they might just be $200,000 poorer than before or deeper in debt. They've maybe converted potential wealth, potential control into just showing off.
So the real power lies in not spending, in saving.
That's where your control is, absolutely. Savings and frugality are the parts of the equation you dominate. Market returns. Unpredictable. Your savings rate, that's on you. It's a 100% guaranteed way to improve your financial situation.
And what does that saved money, that hidden wealth, actually get you? What's the real payoff?
This is maybe the most important point. The highest dividend money pays is control over your time.
Control over time. Explain that.
Well, loads of psychology research backs this up. There was this psychologist, Angus Campbell, who found something profound. Having a strong sense of control over your own life. That's a much better predictor of happiness than your salary or your house size or how prestigious your job title is.
So using money to buy freedom, essentially. Flexibility.
Precisely. Think about it. Having, say, 6 months of living expenses saved up, that means you have the power, the control, to wait for a better job offer if you lose yours.
Or to live a job you hate without facing immediate disaster.
Exactly. Or take time off if you're sick, or start a small side project. It lets you dictate terms to life, rather than life dictating terms to you. That feeling of control, the return on investment for your well-being is just immense.
Okay, but we often approach money trying to be super rational, right?
Okay.
We build spreadsheets, optimize portfolios.
We try to be robots, yeah. Find the mathematically perfect strategy.
But this whole conversation suggests maybe that's misguided. Should we aim for something else? Like just being reasonable?
I think that's exactly right. because finance theory looks for the optimal path on paper. But real people, we want the path that lets us sleep well at night.
We're emotional creatures, not spreadsheets.
Totally. We make decisions thinking about things like, what if the market crashes right after I invest? Or what will my spouse say? Or will I look stupid if this goes wrong? That's the reality.
But isn't settling for reasonable just settling? Aren't you leaving potential gains on the table by not being purely rational?
Maybe on paper,
Yeah.
but think about Nobel Prize winner Harry Markowitz. He literally invented some of the math behind optimal portfolios.
Right, modern portfolio theory.
Yeah. But what did he do with his own money? He split it 50-50, half stocks, half bonds. Why? He said it was to minimize future regret.
Not because his model said 50-50 was optimal.
Nope. It was an emotional decision, a reasonable one. He wanted a strategy he could live with that wouldn't cause him maximum pain if things went south. That reasonableness keeps you in the game.
And that prevents the catastrophic mistake.
It does. Look at the idea of using leverage when you're young. Say 2-to-1 leverage. Mathematically, even if you get wiped out by a 50% crash, lose everything, the models show your expected long-term wealth is still way higher because you can just start over and compound aggressively again.
That sounds insane from a human perspective.
It's completely unreasonable. Imagine losing everything, your entire savings, gone. Are you realistically going to say, okay, dust myself off, back to the leverage plan? Nowhere.
You'd be terrified. You'd quit investing probably, or become ultra-conservative.
Exactly. You abandoned the optimal plan because it was psychologically impossible to stick with. The rational path was unreasonable.
So the key is finding a strategy you can actually stick with through thick and thin.
That's the commitment edge. And it's real.
Yeah.
Look, over one day, the market's basically a coin flip, 50 odds of going up or down.
But over longer periods.
The odds improve dramatically if you stay invested. Over 10 years, historically, the chance of making money in the U.S. market is closer to 88%. Over 20 years, it's been 100%.
Wow. So sticking with a reasonable plan gives you access to those much better long-term odds.
Precisely. A reasonable strategy you can commit to, even if it's not perfect on paper, is far superior to a theoretically optimal one that you abandon at the first sign of trouble.
This has been incredibly insightful. It really hammers home that financial success is so much about our own psychology, our character.
It really is.
So for you listening, the big takeaways seem clear. Focus on those soft skills. Humility, patience, the long view. Think about survival first.
Build that savings buffer, not just for emergencies, but for the control it gives you over your time and choices. That's the real prize.
And aim to be reasonable with your plan, not rigidly rational. Choose the path you can actually walk for the long haul.
And maybe one final thought to leave you with. A lot of financial stress comes from, watching other people. We get influenced by neighbors, colleagues, people on TV.
Who might be playing a completely different game than we are.
Exactly. You might be saving for retirement decades away, but you're comparing yourself to a day trader or someone who inherited millions or someone just focused on buying the next flashy thing. Their goals, their time horizons are totally irrelevant to you.
So the most important step.
Define your game. What's your time horizon? What's your definition of financial success and control? Get clear on that. Write it down even. Then make sure your actions, your behavior are aligned with your game, not someone else's. That's how you win.